Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. The account of religion through the Middle Ages, medieval in English, and medieval in Latin. According to Civilization, Past and Present, 10th edition, copyright 2003, Brummett, Eggar, Hackett, Jewsbury, Taylor, Bailke, Lewis, and Wallbank. A review, December 5th, 2002. 2003, I'm sure I mean. History 101, Tuesday and Thursday, 1:10 p.m. to 3:25 p.m. This book goes over in brief the history and myth associated with the religions associated with the groups of people from about 3 or 4 million years ago, page 2, to about 1545 of the Common Era, page 283. It moderately covers such topics as pre-literate cultures, page 7 to 10, Mesopotamia, page 10 to 17, Egypt, page 17 to 26, and later empires of Western Asia, page 33 to 37. The creation of China, page 42 to 52. The religions that started there and took hold there, page 48 to 60. Early India, page 66 to 72. Jainism, page 73 to 75. Buddhism, page 75 to 90. Minoan, Mycenaean, Hellenic, and Hellenistic civilizations, page 93 to 120. Roman civilization, religion and philosophy, page 152. The rise and triumph of Christianity, page 144 to 148. The New Christian Romes, page 159 to 183. Islam from its origins to 1300, page 187 to 211. The Middle Ages, page 245 to 287. And the growth and spread of Asian culture before and after the Mongol conquest, page 291 to 321. In all peoples, there is a natural urge to explain the origin of life and what it means to exist and why. In early times, this appeared to manifest in animism, that life exists in everything in nature, page 9. In Mesopotamia, Greek for in between the two rivers, page 10, the number of gods and goddesses started to be reduced, and we see a Ensi, high priest and governor, page 12. It was a manifestation of the gods, but wasn't considered a god, but there was a number of divinities. Actually, if we look at the evidence, monotheism came first and then other things. In Egypt, there was a king who was considered divine, or at least he told people he was. Thus, it was considered necessary to preserve and protect the king's body after death, as all could reach the afterlife. They had as many as 43, page 22, or more gods, or as little as one, page 25, or more than one in one divinity. In Persia, we have a man named Zarathustra, who attempted to replace idols and many gods with the worship of a sole god, Ahura Mazda, wise lord, page 36. In China, during the Bronze Age, kings were said to communicate via dialogue with recently deceased royal kin, page 44. The kings and nobles worshipped their ancestors and sometimes made sacrifices. The common people, since they didn't have records of ancestry and clansmanship, they worshipped basic powers of nature. In the Shang period, they came with the concept of two opposed but complementary forces, yin and yang. The sun in all things male, the moon in all things female. Page 45. Confucius and Mencius attempted to explain and refine human behavior. Confucius and Mencius thought mankind is essentially good. Later came Han Feizi, who taught mankind was inherently evil. Teachings became known as legalism. Lao Tzu, Old Master, page 50, taught the philosophy known as Taoism, which is that all are one, and one are all, and that we should just accept everything and try to achieve a state of wu-wei, non-action, page 50. The people on the Indus plains called themselves Aryan, noble people, page 69. The religion they practice is now known as Hinduism. Well, the religion, 70,000 religions, but anyways. It is the faith of many gods and goddesses. They have scriptures such as the various Vedas, knowledge, Upanishads, sit-down teachings, and the Sutras, scriptures, threads. They had a class system of 5 classes in which one can't move classes, and one class, the Brahmins, priests, could see and understand, page 69, could understand the ways of the divinities. The Jains tried to keep a life of ahimsa, nonviolence, page 71, avoiding damaging even a rock, as even that was considered alive. Buddhism set itself between these two ways, and like Jainism, didn't teach of there being a divinity. Well, the first 22 of the 24 Tirthankaras or something like that, the bridge builders, actually did, but the later two kind of formed what we call Jainism. It used to be that the people of Greece believed that a god named Helen brought humans to that land for the first time. For this, Greeks, ancient and modern, call their land Hellas, page 97. They worshipped a number of gods and goddesses who often took on human-like form, and at times female divinities were the most important. Their philosophers who first took only on explaining the physical world, However, later ones took on issues such as cause, afterlife, and God. Mythologically speaking, Rome was founded in 753 BCE by Romulus, page 124. The Romans also worshipped a pantheon of deities. However, the female deities were much less important in this society. Their gods and Numina spirits were often of a malevolent nature, and such the people were such also, but they began to get a greater degree of organization, and peace periods were more stable by 509 BCE. Christianity, which appears to have had a moderately widespread following by the death of its earliest known members, Paul, Saul, and Peter, founded the church in Rome, according to its accepted sacred books compiled in the 4th century CE. It was founded by Jesus, who was born of a virgin and was a divine being who came in human form to die for the sins of mankind, or so they say. This group bore striking similarities to the mystery religions of Greece and Rome, that the teaching of that wealthy and poor were on the same level, and that it taught following of a number of Jewish laws, led to relatively rapid spread early on. When Constantine converted to Christianity, he sought to unify all sects that claimed to follow Jesus. The Council of Nicaea in 325 was put together by Constantine to put an official story on what Christians believe. This was soon made the official religion of the state. In this, the fallen Roman Empire was getting new strength. This led to the persecution and murder of a very vast number of individuals who didn't conform to the official beliefs, particularly among those identified as pagan. They spread their religion there through the whole of Europe and much of Asia and Africa. This spread led to many more sects. Islam is said to be the final chapter of monotheism and was said to be revealed to a man named Muhammad, 520 to 632 CE. He was born in the Arabian Peninsula, and such was the place of his ministry. He claimed to be on the same line of prophets as those mentioned in the Jewish scripture and Jesus. He taught that Allah, the God, page 191, was the one God worshipped by the Christians and the Jews. The verses, he said, were called Quran. The recitation, page 191. This was taught to people in the last 20 or so years of his life. It was written down firsthand during his life by his followers and was compiled shortly after his death in 632 and has remained unchanged since. And you look at any of the compilations, the over 500 before the printing press took on, it's the same one. After Muhammad's death, there were four caliphs, Khulafa actually is a plural, who were elected leaders of Muslims, those who had submitted to Allah and Islam. After the assassination of the fourth of this line, there was divided into two sects: the Sunnis, who tried to follow the actions of the authenticated sayings of their prophet, and the Quran, and the Shiites, who followed the Quran and an imam, religious leader. These groups gained control over much of the Middle East, Africa, and Europe. Then and now, the countries ruled by Muslims use the Quran as a basis for their law system. However, most of the land they gained control over was lost. This well-placed listing of facts and dates makes the aforementioned book worth the read. However, due to religion not being the focus of the book, all key ideas and most sects are often not included in a section. And the example is Christianity. And the first Caliph, Abu Bakr, was elected. Ali was elected by the people also. And Hassan was democratically elected as well. And people could say Hussein or whatever. But number 2 and 3 were appointed, so they weren't quite... They were elected by the first guy and then elected by 6 people. It's not the same thing as the other, but there's more to that, but there that is.